All right, welcome. We've got Sis and we've got Akaeka on the line. Hey, Sis.
Yo, bro.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good over here.
And Akaeka, it's awesome to have you on here. You are our special guest tonight. How is your week going? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. It's been a long week. Going through a whole bunch of stuff, but it's been a good week. Things are getting done. I think that's the best way to go about saying it.
And you are our first special guest. So, since you asked that question, yes, you are.
That's right.
First guest, privileges and stuff.
Our awesomest. He's the awesomest guest we've had so far.
Right, he is. So far.
I think he can hold the crown for a while. I think he can. Well, bro, how are things going in your world? Well, crazy. I like to open with weather because I have so much of it down here.
And what's going on?
And it's been pleasant. The real hot dog days have actually sort of started to recede. I think we mentioned that last time. And so it's just we've been having gorgeous, pleasant days. Not too hot, not too cold, and not that sweltering heat we were getting there for a couple of weeks. So that part's good. I live in a resort town, as you both know, and so we're kind of at the end of the summer rush, and the people are finishing up their vacations. So most people have gone for the year already, but there are still some people who are vacationing last week or two maybe of it. So that's been fun. I almost got into I almost got into a fight.
Really?
I was pulling in the parking garage, and this person was blocking the parking garage access way ahead of me, so I was stopped waiting for him. And he saw that, and so he moved out of the way. And he had a really nice car, and it was really nice to him to move out of the way. It was just one of those things that happened. So when he moved out of the way, I started inching by him, and I rolled my window down because he had a really beautiful car. And I said to him, I was pleasant. I just said, "Hey, that's an awesome, nice car there." And he smiled back, and then this butthead behind me started honking on the horn, just move it. And so, I was, I put that thing in low gear, and I just inched up there at like 3 inches an hour kind of thing, and I was so mad. It made that poor guy behind me just swelter for 2 floors behind me for 2 floors in the parking garage. And boy, he was riding my bumper. I thought he was going to get out and beat me up.
Sounds like a good day.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just I don't know, it just hit me wrong or something, because just hit me wrong. And so, because I normally wouldn't do that. I would normally just go up at a regular speed. What would you say, Akaeka?
It just sounds like our area. I mean, you have that kind of, you just be walking down the street and people think you'd be walking too slow. It's terrible. You got people trying to pass you and they try to honk a horn and or just turn around and give you such terrible words. Like, come on, like there's an entire sidewalk you can walk around me. Like,
well, I was about to say, you have that southern mentality of just kind of giving it up and moving on, but apparently your eastern side is still with you there, Glo.
Just a little bit.
It was showing tonight. I don't know. I was just so mad because that person in front of me, you know, you got to have some graciousness in the parking garage because they design parking garages to be annoying. So you know,
what is up with that? How does that work? You know, they purposely make them just narrow enough, you know, and then you feel like you have to play this like puzzle game to try to get in and out of one.
It better yet when you have incoming traffic from both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to get that one parking spot, and you're gonna just inch it close enough to get into that parking spot, and next thing you know, some guy comes flying in and just jumps right into that parking spot that you're just getting into. Waiting there for like 5-10 minutes, and next thing you know, some guy just pulls in real quick, cuts everybody off.
Oh, isn't that annoying?
It is the best feeling in the world, because then you're just sitting there. You're like, you know what, I can just put my car in park right now and go get my stuff. I'll go get my groceries right now and come back out, and I'll be fine.
Right. So that was my excitement for the day. That was right before we talked, sis, when you and I were texting. I was just coming home from errands and stuff, so.
Nice.
How about for you? How did your week end up?
Crazy busy as normal. Paperwork is the ever abating life of me. Doing notes, and more notes, and I'm extremely behind. Had a little kitty scare because I couldn't find Meow Meow since yesterday morning, and my son was able to locate him, and so I've been giving her lots of love tonight and treats, and she's
now, how old is Meow
to
Meow?
me. I'm not quite sure. She has to be at least 6 or 7 years old because she ended up becoming a stray from a previous neighbor who kind of started kicking her out and stuff, and I ended up adopting her. Well, let me rephrase that. She ended up adopting me. I didn't have much choice in the matter.
You've got to get it right here. She's shooting you looks
totally.
right now.
Yeah, it was definitely, she adopted me. I didn't have any choice in the matter, and so she became part of the family. We got her fixed, and she's a happy fat cat. And so I was all worried about her, and luckily my son was able to locate her, and she's all better and meowing up a storm just like her name gives.
Sounds like my cat now. My cat won't leave
Okay,
me alone.
tell us about yours.
Oh, my cat's the alarm clock. I mean, I come home from work at 4 or 6 o'clock, depending on how my day's going. I come home, I get myself some dinner and stuff like that, spend some time with the wife and kids and stuff like that. And closer to 9 o'clock, pretty much almost on the dot, if not on the dot, if she's not meowing about her dinner, wanting her food, she's meowing about wanting to go upstairs and go to bed. And if I don't, this cat will not leave me alone. She'll lay on me, she'll meow on me, she'll bite my fingers, she'll attack the wife. Oh, it's terrible. She is persistent on making sure that we go to bed on time every night. She's ruthless. She will meow and meow and meow. I'm actually surprised she's not meowing right now. She's just wandering around the living room right now, waiting for us. Oh, she's laying in front of me right now, actually, waiting for me to get up so I can go upstairs and go to bed, or at least wife to go upstairs and go to bed. She's something else. So she was originally adopted from being a stray before I met my wife. The name Pizza was created when she lured her into the house with a piece of pizza. She started eating, and she's been a house cat ever since. She has her times where she wants to go outside, but she's pretty content being a house cat, being a happy little old fat house cat now. She gets all the love and attention and food that she wants. She has no need to go outside now. But she's definitely Daddy's little girl. I call her a name no matter where I'm at in the house. She comes running in a minute. No matter what she's doing. She could be in the middle of eating. I call her a name. She comes running to me. She's definitely my cat now.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Sounds like she's got
years,
good handle on the time schedules in the house.
Oh, yeah. Being 12 years old, she knows exactly how she wants this house to be ran.
And she's not shy to communicate?
Oh, no. Definitely not. She will meow and meow. If she's hungry, she'll let you know. And if I move at all, if I get up, she will go to exactly where she wants me to follow. And if I don't, she'll meow until I get there. It's terrible.
She's got a subtle way with her.
Oh, it's very subtle. Very subtle.
She has you wrapped around your finger.
Oh.
Her paw, I should say, huh?
Oh, definitely.
Now, is this, is she basement material in the sense that, it seems like cats either do one of two things. They either love to be perched somewhere on high in the house so they can view everything, or they love to be like underneath the sofa or behind the love seat. Or
it depends. She is a very interesting cat. She doesn't play. I bought her a laser pointer. I brought her toys and everything like that, and she will not play with them. She will look at you like there's something wrong with you. Like, I throw a toy at her and she's just like, what do you want me to do with it? And she'll just let it go by. She finds a hair tie on the ground. Oh, back up. She'll freak out. She'll play with that thing for hours. She thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. She doesn't normally like being on the floor. The house that we were at previously, she hated the floor. She would never go on the floor at all. She thought it was the worst. If she played the game, the floor was lava all the time. She had to be up on something at some point. Now that we're at our new place, it's more tile floor and everything like that. She doesn't really have a problem with it. But the rug that we have in the middle of the living room was originally the wife's grandma's rug, and she said her cats love the rug and stuff like that. We laid it down, and she attacks the rug all the time. It's a thicker rug, so she can't pull it apart or anything like that, but she loves playing on it. She loves rolling around on it and stuff like that. And she scratches it like a scratching post, which, saves my furniture and my door frames. But, she normally does like to be on the couch, but she doesn't have to be high. She just has to be within petting reach. So if she's anywhere perched up, it's because she knows that a hand will be there at some point to pet her. If not, she'll nudge you, like, hey, excuse me, you were supposed to pet me when I laid here? Just letting you know. So, I mean, she's a mixture. She's not as subtle. She's not a normal cat. She's definitely not a normal cat. There's nothing normal about her. Aside from the fact that she has fur and she meows. Other than that, she is as human as you can get. She has very interesting personality. I'm the only one who ever plays with her. I rub her belly until she gets really excited, and then she starts eating my entire arm. She has to claw and bite and scratch. And I thought she was being mean, but she actually pulls my hand in like it's a toy. She has to attack it. She thinks it's the greatest thing in the world. But she won't do it with anybody else. She won't do it with, like, Zoe or anything like that, my youngest, because she knows that she's fragile. Zoe will, like, pick her up and move her, and she'll just look at her like, okay, what am I doing here? My wife, she'll sit there and just wiggle her toes, and the only thing she'll do is just bite her toes. But, like, I'm her chew toy, and I am her human. Like, that's all there is to it.
My Meow Meow is that way. Meow Meow is that way. I call her my bipolar kitty because when I got her, she was extremely moody. She was a very moody female, and she would just jump up on the couch and, she was in a bad mood. She didn't feel good. Her belly hurt, something, and she would just attack my arm. And then when she was done attacking my arm, she didn't hurt me because, now mind you, she was a stray cat, so she survived outside hitting mice and birds and little bunnies, but she still brings me those treats. But she would, excuse me, she would just attack me. And when she was done, she would audibly huff at me, go, and walk over to the edge of the couch and lay down and like, okay, I just wanted to let you know that, okay? And she would be fine after that. And she really is not a sociable kitty. She really doesn't like a lot of people. You have to get on her like list before she'll really give you any kind of love. And, you know, if you talk to her and she just doesn't like you, she has no real problem hissing at you. She's done it multiple times to neighbors. And she has no problem saying, I don't like you, go away. It's very funny. Go ahead.
Does she have does she take like an instant like or dislike to people? Like, you know, she sort of decides at the very first, or does she take time to warm up, or how does her disposition work out there?
Again, it depends upon her mood for the day, if she'll like you or not. The only person that she consistently likes on a regular basis every single day is me. She does like my youngest son, just because she has a feel of like he was there to rescue her in a couple of occasions. When I had to go out of town right after she had kittens, my youngest took care of her and her kittens, freshly new, and so she has a liking for him. But, you know, she has to think about other people. She, you know, maybe I might like you, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm going to hiss at you, maybe I won't. It's the mood. It's the mood, yeah, it really is. It's really quite funny, and she can be very cuddly with me and stuff like that, but again, if she's in a grumpy mood or if she just doesn't know what she wants to do, she'll be anywhere in the house, and she will come up, and she will just attack my arm. And I can't move my arm, because if I really did any kind of movement or sudden movement, she could cause me some major damage, because if she eats the bones of mice, she's got a good death grip. But she will not break skin with me unless I move my hand the wrong way until she's done. So I can't react. I have to wait until she's done, and then she huffs and walks away. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm done being grumpy. I'm going to go lay down now. And she's an interestingly moody kitty who, by the way, has been taught to sit down by command for a treat. My youngest gets a kick out of it. He goes, yeah, who knew that a feral bipolar kitty would learn how to sit for treats? So she's a cutie.
That's awesome. So we were talking last time about identity, you know, and teenagers building their identity. Do you think it's the same with cats? Do you think they go through identity crises and have like teenage hissy fits and, you know, things like that, or is that?
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, are you asking the cis cat whisperer or general? Because you know me and kitties. And,
well, you know, let's talk about yours and then tell me what you think in general. And then you too.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I think that's a matter of perspective because, you know, in any form of an identity, it's also a matter of the relation that you have with the household that you're living in. So, I mean, when it comes to cats, you know, you can have a happy, fat, lazy cat, and it's because, you know, that person feeds them, you know, 5 times a day and has expensive bedding and toys and stuff like that, and the cat has really no inkling of doing anything except for eating, pooping, and sleeping some more. You know, I mean, then you can have other cats that are more outside cats and that have to be a little bit more vicious when it comes to the outside terrain, you know, either having to deal with the dogs or raccoons or even other cats in that sense. So you can have a cat that's a little bit more active and slightly more feisty on that behalf. So in a sense, like Meow Meow, in a sense, you know, she's feisty, moody, and because she was originally a house cat, but has become an outdoor cat, but then became a house cat again. So, you know, you can say that in that whole life experience, her identity has become bipolar because she doesn't have a sense of trust in that sense of what she wants to do with her life. And then in my sense, my cat, she has some urges to go outside. Like the other day, I opened up my door and she actually ran outside for a couple seconds, but it wasn't hard to chase her down. She took like 5 steps and I just picked her up and moved her back in the house, and she didn't really want to go back outside since. But she's quite happy and content being just a normal little house cat, not having any other obligations or any kind of concerns on that behalf. So her identity crisis is whether or not she wants to sleep on the couch or on the bed. You know, and in the sense of Meow Meow, her identity crisis is whether or not she's going to go outside and pick a fight with another cat, or, you know, stay inside and poop in a corner somewhere, you know.
Well, thank gosh, she doesn't poop in a corner. She's actually very much dog-like, which is super nice for kitty litter action, because she will only use the kitty litter in desperate means. She will literally hold it all day long while I'm at work and wait until I come home, go outside to go to the bathroom like a dog. This is her sanctuary, so she doesn't want to dirty it up with poop. But it is funny though, because when I go to actually freshen up the kitty litter, because she never really uses it, but I check on it to freshen up on it. As soon as I go to freshen up on it, she has to go literally in there while I'm freshening it up, and then she'll go to the bathroom. I'm like, seriously? You can't wait until I'm at least done scooping things around. No, she has to do it while I'm in the middle of scooping. She's like, oh, it's time to go in the kitty litter? Okay, let's go. I'm like, no, that's not why I'm freshening the kitty litter. You know, I want to make sure it's not getting stale because you don't use it. It doesn't mean that you need to use it.
Well, you know, Mom's playing in it, so we got to play in it. You know, I figured it's a trend thing going on right now.
Pretty much. That's kind of her MO. But from my experience of having cats since I was little, I got my very first kitty when I was 7 for Christmas underneath the table. I don't know, bro, if you remember this particular time frame, but
oh yeah,
when we used to sleep underneath the kitchen table on Christmas Eve to see what happened, and I woke up one morning to a kitten.
Oh yeah, you remember her name?
Yes, do I remember her name? She's Misty Marie. Of course I do. My Calico. She actually gave us 8 generations of cat before her bloodline ended at my last kitty, Shivers.
Right.
Unless, you know, if I'm miscounting all of the strays and giveaways that we gave over the years, but she was the beginning of many generations of kitties to follow. Yeah, she was quite precious. And I've had affinity for kitties ever since. Ever since when I moved here, I seem to have that kitty aura that likes to bring strays. Not only did Meow Meow decide to adopt me, I do. Literally, we used to, when I first moved here, a gray cat used to come dumpster diving and felt very comfortable around me. As soon as anybody else showed up, it ran. I have a feeling that he has long been passed, but a black cat adopted me. in the middle of trying not to adopt my current Meow Meow. So yeah, I have a affinity of having just cats feel trusted with me when they feel afraid and things like that. I end up with a kitty on my doorstep until they feel less afraid. So I kind of have an affinity for those little suckers, sometimes whether I want to or not. And, you know, just like any creature or animal, they go through their stages of development. And, you know, they have their kitten stage and, you know, the adolescent stage where they're, you know, starting to do that hunting gathering thing, and kind of getting to who's going to be dominant. But in the animal world, we always have, you know, who's the head honcho of the territory. And that's something that, is always going to be, it's very funny because, Meow Meow, who is an outside cat and is very forceful and very strong-willed, does not fight for dominance in here. She doesn't try to be head kitty. She doesn't actually try to be head anything here. She's just like, I love you, feed me food. Okay, I'm going to go back outside for a little bit. Okay, I love you again, feed me food. So she doesn't have that conflict, but other cats that have passed through have many a time fought me for head kitty because of me being a female. And they sense males and females. They can sense the hormones, especially the females. It was fun whenever my boys were growing up and testosterone was crazy, and my poor female kitties who were unfixed at the time would just go in heat all the time because they couldn't distinguish. They just go in heat all the time. But you know, I don't know if you I'm sure you remember these times of battles with Bindi.
Oh yes.
Battles with Bindi, who had to try, because there was multiple cats in the home. She had to dominate and be the alpha.
Which she really did too.
And she would literally try to kind of keep me in check, try to make me not the alpha. She would randomly attack me. She had adopted my youngest son, and as a mother of this, my son, but I mean, literally you could not do anything to him. If he got too excited, whoever made him excited got attacked. It was just not allowed. So there was some dominance issues going on in that household. The other cat that she dominated, name worked, it was Shivers. She was always afraid of everything, and so she never tried for dominance. Even when a little kitty came about and she ended up being crippled and could barely move, would out-dominate her and be more dominant than Shivers was. Poor thing. Shivers was just so cute. But
Shivers had no desire of being head honcho at all. She just wanted to be safe and content in her own little bubble. That's it. That's all she cared about was her bubble.
Yes, it was so great. And if anybody got into it, she's like, okay, you're here, but don't make me do anything.
When she would climb on your back when we were getting yelled at?
Oh, my goodness, yes. If you got yelled at when you were, and I apparently didn't yell a lot whenever my kids were younger, because as soon as I would start to yell and, you know, try to get them to behave, next thing I know, I have a cat climbing up my leg and climbing up my back and trying to get into my face and go, what's wrong? And sniff me and meow because she didn't understand why I was yelling. It was quite funny. You know, she did not like her mommy being upset.
She was the caretaker. That's all she was.
Yes, very much so. Yep, that was really great. But in the identity thing that you're referring to, Bro, was dealing with I think that all animals have a sense of getting an identity, whether it is like Shivers, who, you know, I really don't need any kind of dominance. Just let me have my food and be loved. I'm good. And to the point where I will fight you for everything. Mentioning the crippled kitten, the crippled kitty who even dominated poor Shivers,
Yes.
she would fight dominance with me all of the time. And her way to be bad and to show her dominance was that she would go and poop on my little throw cover. Not cover, but carpet.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that was very funny because she and I would have battles, and she would go and hit the same spot every time. So when I would see her going to do it, I would stand in front of that spot, and I would tell her, go to the kitty litter. And she would meow at me and hiss and meow and stand there. And I'm like, go to the kitty litter. Because I couldn't pick her up and put her in the kitty litter because she would jump back out and wobble back over to that corner. And I would sit there for over an hour yelling at her to go to the kitty litter. I would go sit down and I would call my youngest out, tell him to order her to the kitty litter. He would come out and say, go to the kitty litter, little miss, it's okay. She would get up and walk and go to the kitty litter. Yes.
Wow.
That was the battle I would have. She did. She battled me hard. She did not like me being the head kitty, and she knew I was strong enough to be head kitty, so she had to find everything possible to try to out-dominate me. And that was her only way, was through poo.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, I mean.
Did she ever give up and acknowledge, or did she fight it
never.
the whole way?
She fought it until she moved out. Yeah, she fought it until she moved out. And when she moved out, when my youngest son moved out, and never ever did she have purposeful accidents afterwards, because she didn't have to show dominance to the male cat, which were humans, by the way.
Right. Well, honorary cats, I think they make it.
That's pretty much. I mean, humans, that's kind of what they are, is the honorary cats in their tribe. So, you know. And she never ever acted up. When she started to, she didn't get to live for very long. She lived longer than she probably should have, but she didn't live as long as a lot of cats do. And
what was it with her?
She had a bad case of fleas, and we gave her some medicine which gave her a paralysis problem in her back, and which originally started off in her back, and then it escalated to most of her joints for her legs. She was unable to move for the longest time. We had to nurture her back into somewhat of amount of strength, which at the time we thought that was just going to be the end of it. She was just going to be paralyzed, and she was just going to fade off. And we were able to nurture. Yeah, we nurtured her back into full strength.
Well, not quite full strength.
Not full strength, but
she was able to walk again.
Yeah, she never actually was able to use her hind legs completely. She was never able to really bend them. She'd almost have to swing them out to walk in any aspect, like almost like her legs were stiff at all points in time, which was extremely uncomfortable for her as far as sitting, laying down. There was no real comfortable positions. Walking was a challenge for her. There was no jumping whatsoever. Climbing.
Even though she would try. She would try to get, because she was one of the cats that liked to be up high.
Yes.
And so things were built for her to accommodate her. Like, the kitty litter was too tall for her to get into. So we would put a little box steps for her to climb up to get into the kitty litter. They had little steps out of box and pillows were made to get at her up onto the couch and bed. And then you had to put pillows down on the floor around all of those objects so that she had something soft to land on, because she had no control. So she just plopped off. but she didn't want to always be taken down. She wanted to do it herself.
She was
So
very independent.
Yes. So she would just plop down, and we knew it hurt her. So we had pillows lining all couches, all beds, anything that she would crawl up on, so that in case she did decide to just jump off, we could at least avoid her having so much pain.
Or further injury, at least, yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Wow.
that little kitten was Dad's precious jewel. He loved that cat more than anything else in the world, and he, to this day, mourns her passing. He keeps talking about, wanting to get another kitten and stuff like that, but then he gets to that thought of, what little Miss went through and stuff like that, and just that pain of that was really, really hard on him. But just the challenges that little kitten faced, in a sense, her sense of identity was a strong, independent cat. I mean, she had more motivation, more drive, more desire to accomplish the things that other normal cats would do than any other cat. You see cats who are, I keep saying, like overweight cats or anything like that, they have no desire to roll out of bed, let alone jump onto their couch or anything like that. They beg for you to pick them up. This kitten, who literally could not, because of something that happened to her, would find ways to achieve the unachievable for her. I mean, she
didn't want you to do it for her. If you picked her up, she would get back down and find a way to. She didn't like it when you did it for her. Towards the end, she started to a little bit, but she was a feisty kid. And like I said, she would give me the battles of a lifetime. And she never actually grew because she got sick when she was a kitten.
very young.
So she literally stayed in middle kitten stage. She'd never fully grown to a full-size cat. So, and so that her name Little Miss fit her because she was
like a foot long.
She was so tiny and so skinny and tiny, even though she ate like a bear.
Oh, she'd eat more than normal cats would. She'd just keep eating.
Mhm.
I had no idea where she put it all, but she would eat more than a human would. She would just keep eating and eating and eating. I mean, then there would be days too where she just would not eat at all. Towards the very end, Dad got really worried because of her lack of appetite, having such a heavy appetite at the, middle of her life and everything like that. Then she had absolutely no appetite towards the end. She would maybe eat a meal a day, if that. She just wasn't interested in eating. And I think it was because of the time frame of her just realizing that she's just giving up a little bit more and more. She just can't, get herself to, get the energy to do it anymore. And she was just, in a sense, giving up. That motivation just faded away with time.